Hello, everyone. My name is Dinh Hung. I came from Vietnam. I'm a student at the Herzl State Pedagogical University in St. Petersburg. I'm in the Chechen Republic now. Russia by Foreigners is the only travel show that destroys age-old stereotypes. 10 foreigners, 10 regions, and 3 days to find a common language with the largest country in the world. And one opportunity to understand that Grozny, literally terrible, is not a characteristic of locals. Welcome to Grozny. As they say, let's go! I've read a lot of different things about Grozny. My first thought was, I don't know if I'll risk visiting this place. But when I came to Chechnya, I thought, it's not like that. It's not true. I think we should look with our own eyes.
We welcome you to the Memorial Complex of Glory, named after the first president of the Chechen Republic, the hero of Russia, Ahmed Kadzi Abdul Hamidovich Kadyrov. Our complex has been opened on May 8, 2010, on the initiative of the head of our republic, the hero of Russia, Ramzan Akhmatovich Kadyrov. The purpose of our complex is to perpetuate the memory of the great patriotic war heroes, as well as the materialization of our president's memory. As you can see, the museum consists of 2 levels. The art gallery is located throughout the upper level. The lower level is the exhibition halls, dedicated to the life and work of Ahmed Kadzi Kadyrov, as well as the great patriotic war heroes. I should add that almost all the materials used in the decorations of the museums are exclusive. In particular, marble was imported from Spain. Also pay attention to the walls decorated with torches and sconces made to order in Iran. We are in the most significant place of our museum. This is the recreated working office of Ahmed Kadzi Kadyrov. It was presented to us by the government of the Chechen Republic. Ahmed Kadzi said, "My task is not to stop the war, but to end it once and for all." These words became a turning point, not only in his life, but also in the life of the entire Chechen people. Pay attention to the working table of Ahmed Kadzi Kadyrov. Every object is exactly on the place on which it was during his lifetime. The original of the last order, signed by Kadyrov's hand, is on the table. This is the order of his official trip to Moscow from May 5 to May 9, 2004. So Ahmed Kadzi should have been in Moscow on the day of his death, but he decided to interrupt his official trip because the veterans of the Great Patriotic War were gathering together in Grozny to celebrate Victory Day. Ahmed Kadzi interrupted his business trip and returned to Grozny to demonstrate to them his respect. But unfortunately, this trip was his last, because as you know, Ahmed Kadzi died in a terrorist attack on May 9, 2004. "I am right because my people are with me," Kadyrov said. So it turned out that he spent his last days of his life with his people in his native Grozny. Well, we are moving to the central panel of our museum now. It displays episodes of meetings between the 2 presidents. Ahmed Kadzi Kadyrov has been president for less than 1 year. We understand that it is a small period for any politician, but nevertheless, pay attention to the frequency of presidents' meetings. These meetings took place not only at government events. The presidents solved important issues of our republic restoration, even on the plane or on the yacht. The president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, described Kadyrov as a highly decent and absolutely integrity person who never asked for anything for himself. His quote, "He proved with his whole life that there is no equality between bandits, terrorists, and the whole people. Our people were deported to Kazakhstan and North Asia on February 23, 1944. Kadyrov's family lived in Karaganda. In the top row of photos, we can see the house where Akhmat Kadyrov was born on August 23, 1951. Our people returned to their homeland after 13 years. Akhmat started his first grade. We can see Akhmat Kadyrov, a high school graduate. It must be said that Akhmat Kadzi, as a clergyman, distanced himself from the political process that took place in our republic. But he, as a true Muslim, could not stand aside, understanding that his people were on the edge of the abyss. Akhmat Kadzi began to actively participate in the political life of our republic in 1999. Akhmat Kadzi Kadyrov was an honorable son of his people. He will be remembered as a wise politician who did a tremendous job of restoring our republic in a short time. The composition in front of us was created by Pemyakov Alexander and Pemyakov Evgenia. This composition was a gift from Daniil Martinov, the assistant to the head who supervised the power block. Each of its elements is symbolic. In particular, the Chechen land is depicted as the golden bowl, which is decorated with the Chechen national ornament and the Chechen totem in the form of a wolf. These bulls symbolize fertility and wealth. Cranes flying up symbolize the desire for freedom. We can see the Slav riding the bear in the center of the composition. It symbolizes unity and faith. The horsemen on the edges are the Vainak peoples. This is a generalized name for the Chechen and the Ingush. These are two fraternal peoples. They symbolize courage and honor here. Young people in the foreground symbolize the continuation of the human race. This composition as a whole symbolizes the unbreakable friendship of peoples.
All the sights in Chechnya are very, very beautiful.
Well, you have visited the Alley of Glory Memorial Complex. By the way, it is the third in the Russian Federation in terms of scale. It is similar to Poklonaya Gora in Moscow and Mamayev Kurgan in Volgograd. Could you see how big this museum is? At the same time, it was built in 100 days only. They work 24 hours, 7 days a week, without lunch breaks. People was not away and built this museum in exactly 100 days. This is the very center of Grozny. We are going to see a few more sites of Grozny, from which you will be just, I don't know, you probably like it at least, I promise you. Let's go.
Yes, okay.
This is one of the oldest temples in the North Caucasus. It is under the auspices of the Cultural Heritage Foundation. The temple was built in Grozny a long time ago. It was built in 1868. It is the only religious object in Grozny at the time. It was completely destroyed during 2 military campaigns. It was destroyed right down to the foundation, but it was restored among the first by order of Akhmet Kadzi Kadyrov in 2006. Well, we are inside the temple. An interesting fact is that it's located on the avenue named after Akhmet Kadzi Kadyrov. This is the Central Avenue, and the Museum Islamic Mosque is located on the contrary, on Vladimir Putin Avenue. That's how interesting it turned out in Grozny. I usually give visitors a few minutes to gather their thoughts and ask for something personal. After all, we know that he's the only one up there. I'm going to do the same thing now. I'm going to leave you alone and sincerely wish you are heard. I'll be waiting for you outside, and I'll be able to answer your questions, okay?
Okay. The people of Chechnya, I think they are friendly. Are they calm? Yes, they are calm. They are very good people. And the city is very calm, very quiet. I like Chechnya.
We're in one of the most amazing places that I do love. I visit it with pleasure every time. I like to be here with tourists and alone. This is a flower park. Look what a beauty. There are up to 150,000 flowers here. These are a variety of flowers. Iron structures are located above us. You can see them in the depths of the park as well. All of them are lighted by individual neon illumination at night. It's incredibly beautiful. There is one holiday in the Chechen national calendar, which is called the Day of the Chechen Woman. This is my holiday. Yes, this is my holiday. It is celebrated every third Sunday of September annually. And so, Ramzan Akhmadovich had a dream to give flowers to every woman. In fact, this is impossible to do, so they decided to create such a beauty in the center of Grozny. They decided to create a place with flowers that every woman can admire when coming here. The construction of the park began in early summer 2017. It was built in exactly 3 months. Everyone could enjoy this park on the holiday day of September that year. You can see everything with your own eyes. You'll tell me about your impressions later, won't you? Agreed.
Yes, of course.
We are in the town of Shali. There are only 6 cities and towns in our republic. It was the largest village in the world in Soviet times. It is home to over 60,000 inhabitants. It has had the statues of our town since 1990, but its appearance became similar to a town only after the war. The construction of the Shali city complex, the hotel building, several residential buildings, and the largest mosque in Europe began in 2012. The mosque, named after the Prophet Muhammad, is the pride of Muslims. The construction of the mosque began in 2012 and lasted a little over 6 years. The opening of the mosque took place on August 23, 2019. 30,000 people came to visit the mosque at the same time. The main feature of the mosque is its pure white color. The height of the 4 minarets is 63 meters. Below is a garden with about 2,000 trees. There are 143,000 rose bushes. We are inside the mosque. You can see that the interior decoration is also made of Thassos marble, which can be polished to a mirror shine. Therefore, we can see shiny spots and matte parts. This marble reflects heat. Therefore, it is cool here even in summer, when the air temperature rises to plus 45 in August. The carpet is made of New Zealand wool. This is the best that exists in carpet weaving. There are 270,000 knots on 1 square meter. By the way, the image on it is not random. People come to the mosque for collective prayer. They stand in long lines on this narrow strip. The muezzin in each mosque recites the adhan strictly according to the schedule. The muezzin climbed the spiral staircase inside the minaret and there recited the azan in those days when there was no such equipment as speakers and microphones. Well, we have such equipment now. You can see the big minbar on the right. This structure is a pulpit. The imam of the mosque recites a weekday preaching from there. He can interpret any question, not only about religion in accordance with the Quran.
What I remember is the house in the museum where people used to live. I took a lot of photos there. I think I'll show this house later.
This is the Shira Yurt Museum. The life of the flatland Chechens is recreated here. We say flatland because such houses were not built in the mountains. There were stone buildings in the mountains. We can look at life on exactly flatlands here. This is the internal yard. There was usually a stone here. Let's go inside. Every house has roof terraces. The Chechens have always built with the expectation of any number of guests at any time for any reason. These terraces are still relevant. They allow you to accommodate the maximum possible number of guests. Due to some events, whether it's grief, whether it's a holiday, whether it's just condolences, everyone who does not have enough space in the house has his place on the terrace. They slept here. Such carpets were necessary, but these were felt carpets then, and now they are wool. The felt carpets were made by women manually in ancient times. The making of such carpets required at least 2 weeks. Sometimes it took up to 3 months, depending on difficulty. These were definitely such a bed and aga. This is a cradle for a baby. Babies slept in such a cradle for almost up to 1.5 years. How was it? It's a straw mattress. The baby's hands were tied with this band, and the legs were tied with the second band. And then they got attached here. There was straw inside the mattress. The tradition of hanging carpets has been going on since ancient times, because there are dangers in the mountains. And therefore, the owner kept his weapons at hand always. It was a necessity then, of course. Weapons were usually hung on felt carpets, or they put it next to them. You can see hanging felt or wool carpets in the local houses even now. The owner hangs his edged weapon or firearms on them. Let's go to that room. This is the kitchen. There was a round, low table with stools here. It could also be placed on the bed. They ate from a round, large dish usually. But because it was believed that a meal from a single dish unites the family. This is the master's room. What we saw earlier is the utility room and the bedroom. The mistress is in charge there, and this is the master's room. There's a bed, a carpet, and nothing excess here. Such weak structures were built of clay. You can only see them on the flatland because people often left the flatland territories in case of a nomad raid, and stone structures were built in the mountains. These are defensive stone structures, tower architecture, which we are going to see today. We are on the shore of Lake Kazanoyem. This is the most highland, largest and deepest lake in North Caucasus. It is 75 meters deep. It is located among alpine meadows, as you can see. The water warms up to plus 18 degrees in the height of summer, but the temperature does not rise higher. The thickness of the winter ice has been 40 to 50 centimeters in recent years and has reached 1 meter in 2014. We can even drive off-roaders on the lake. The training base of the Olympic rowing team was here in Soviet times. The popularity of this place is growing, not only among the residents of our republic. Tourists come from all regions of our country. Foreigners come as well.
Being near Lake Kazanoyem, I called my mom and showed her the lake and the nature around. She said, "Oh, it's very beautiful." She wants to visit Russia, of course, to visit Grozny and Chechnya. and see everything with her own eyes.
We are in the ancient town of Khoi now. Khoi means a guard in Chechen. Yes, this is the town of guards. Why the guards? Because the city is located on the border with Dagestan and protects the southern, or rather eastern borders of the republic. The alarm signal was sent through the signal system in case of danger approaching from the east. This town could gather up to 1,000 battle-worthy horsemen in an hour, with the help of this signal defense system passing through the mountains. Each tower is a unit of the signal system chain. Each tower is positioned so that the signal of the other tower is visible. As for the lack of fertile lands, you can see some of the terraces or steppes on the other side. People were engaged in terrace land cultivation here. Such terraces were formed and lined with stones. They were filled with soil for growing crops. It was necessary to collect it in one pile because the natural fertile soil was not enough. The fertile lands were in the flat part of Chechnya. As a result of the nomadic tribes' invasion, the Chechen and the Ingush are practically one people. We call ourselves the Vainak peoples. They left the plains because such small peoples would not survive on the flatland. They went to the mountains. The mountains were both a fortress and a protection for the highlanders, for the Vainak people. 22 people, of whom only 3 survived, went to the front line from this settlement. There was also the deportation of the Chechen and the Ingush on February 23, 1944. They were deported from here, and after that they did not return here because the Soviet government, after rehabilitation, after returning to their homeland, the Chechens were forbidden to settle in the mountains because it was impossible to control highlanders in the mountains. Because of this, barns were burned and people were forced to move to the flatland. Therefore, these territories and family towers were without care for some time. We are in the basement of the tower. The basement was for large and small cattle, but the arched arches and masonry are like in the royal chambers here. Look at how well they have been preserved, despite the fact that they were made in the 12th century. This is a seismic region. It is seismically dangerous here. There are frequent earthquakes here. The masonry has been preserved perfectly despite this. We are near the Argon Gorge now. This is the longest gorge in North Caucasus. Its length is 145 kilometers. 131 kilometers passes through the territory of the Chechen Republic. The Argon Gorge used to be called the Gorge of Towers. More than 4,000 buildings were here before the Caucasus Wars. These were ancient architectural structures. Basically, these were combat and semi-combat towers, watchtowers. They were also habitable towers. So the combat and semi-combat towers and the watchtowers were from 4 to 6 floors high. The habitable towers were from 2 to 4 floors high. The most famous Ushkaloi twin towers are in the gorge narrowest place. According to historians, they are at least 900 years old. You can see that the towers are literally soldered into the rock. The towers have only 3 walls. The 4th wall is a rock. The stone canopy over the towers is their roof. A fire was lit on the tower roof in case of danger. This signal was transferred to all villagers through the mountain's signal notification system.
Chechnya, goodbye. And in Vietnamese, Tatambit.